What's going on, guys? That last video you just watched was from about 6 months ago when I first picked the sled up. Since then, I've only put a handful of parts on it, the Olin suspension on it, and then I also put Rock's tunnel grips on it just so I could have a little bit more control in the air, because I picked the sled up right before I went to Sled Fest. And if you know anything about Sled Fest, it's a lot of big air, big jumps. So I kind of just wanted the essentials for that. But now we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into this build. I didn't go too crazy. I just kind of wanted a OEM plus build, but it's still gonna be a sweet machine. So let's get into it. First thing I'm slapping on is some Ice Age Striker A-arms and their Elevate spindles. Reason being is the Elevate spindles are made out of 6061 series aluminum, so they're stronger, and I went with the lightweight ones, so they're going to be a little bit lighter too, and they just look super sick, and I think that's really the only reason you need to throw some parts on your sled. Check those out. Who's got better packaging than that? Next, we got these sweet Striker A-arms. Again, super nice packaging. Everything's in foam cutouts, so you know it's not going to be damaged when you get it. Reason I picked these up, number one, is because they're stronger, and number two, it's got a little bit more of a bend in here, so it gives you about another inch of clearance over a stock A-arm, so you can miss rocks and stumps like that. But enough chit chat, let's toss these parts on. So I ran into a little bit of an issue here. So in order to run Olin shocks with the Ice Age A-arms, I need a different bushing here because they use a different mounting bracket. So I'm gonna have to order that. So that's gonna have to wait a second. But in the meantime, I'm gonna be tossing on this Avid Products tail tighty. More so of a looks part, maybe reduces drag in some really deep snow a little bit, but I think they look pretty tight. So next up, I got this 3D Logic rib cage. Basically just allows for more airflow. It is a boost, so it's gonna be sucking air. And this is gonna help open up those airways a little bit more on super, super deep days. So now that the rib cage is on and the hood is off, I figured I'll throw this Radiant Green Skins hood on. Only reason I really got this again is because it looks sweet. The 2025, so it already has the lighter headlight. So it's probably only a few pounds lighter, but I just think they look pretty tight. So I'm gonna toss it on. So basically, I'm just swapping out the green ski loops for black ones, and I'm throwing these Slaz King ski rubbers in. These stock ones are for the birds. Ski done. Ski 2 done. So I figured I could slap these spindles on, even though I don't have that lower A-arm yet. Waiting on this bushing, but Once that bushing comes in, then I can just put that A-arm on and we should be all set. This is extremely hard without being able to put weight down onto the ski. Finally got the bushings in, let's toss those A-arms on. I think this A-arm and spindle combo turned out great. I think it looks more aggressive. It sits up a bit higher and you get that extra bit of clearance that you wouldn't have with a stock setup. So super stoked on that. Now it's time to get this sled on its side so we can yank that skid out and put some sweet parts on that. Oh, this thing is filthy. Well, let's get to work. I'm putting Ice Age bomber rails on. I've broken way too many rails to go with a lightweight part on this one. The next part I'm going to be upgrading is this shock shaft. It's one of those parts you don't think you're going to break or bend, but I was out one day and my buddy actually bent his shock shaft and it compresses the suspension and you end up riding around the rest of the day looking like a Polaris Rush. So pin performance makes a replacement that's much stronger. So I'm going to be taking a lot of hits with this sled and this is never going to bend on me and I won't be down for the day. If you're interested in a product like this, go to Pin Performance. You can use code Parker15 and get you 15% off your order. Just look at the difference in that. The size difference is crazy. My camera died on me, but we got it back in the skid. Super easy to install, and I think it looks absolutely killer. This entire skid turned out super sick, and I'm really happy with it. Now, all that's left to do is get it back in the sled. But before I put the skid back in, I have to install this front arm drop bracket that Ice Age recommends. Because of the Elevate spindles, it lifts the front end up a little bit. So this allows the skid to drop down, and it kind of levels out the whole sled. This hole is available on all the 22 to 24s, but the 25s, you gotta buy that bracket so you can drop the skid to get that extra hole there. Now for exhaust, I'm getting rid of this suitcase and I'm putting on this Push Industries full titanium exhaust. They sound super crispy and I'm stoked to get this on the sled. So after wrestling around for a little while, I finally got the stock muffler off and the Push Industries muffler in. Now I think I finally got enough done where I can slap this Octane Ink wrap on. Let's get to it. So I'm all finished up with the wrap, but I almost forgot to put these Pin Performance stirrups on. The stock ones are basically made of glass and they break all the time, so giving her a little upgrade. After I slap these on, the build will pretty much be complete, and then we can roll the edit. So there it is, the build is pretty much done. There's a couple different things I want to do to the sled before it hits the snow, but I wanted to get this video up before Heydays. If you're wondering where my bumpers are, the bumpers are getting put on at Heydays at the BSB Fab booth. Tune in at booth HC3. Come check the build out, say what's up. But other than that, that concludes the video, and we'll catch you in the next one.